things is that FNATIC in the recent games they've had, like, over the last few months it's not been the best, but in the last couple of games they've been absolutely fantastic on this map. And more so, we've seen every single member of their team have their moments today. Like, Brolin was a little bit quiet in the last map. I don't expect the same when Crims has just caught MSL lining up grenades. He does then get punished, though, and so does his teammate in the meantime. So the sort of early pick that he gets is now completely null and void. Sure, the utility hit the deck. I am 100% sure that whatever nades are going to be flung in, Snappy can do the exact same thing that MSL was going to do. So it's not so much of a worry. And the bigger problem is as well, they're now going to reposition. Look at JW.
Oh, no. Well, he was caught like a deer caught in headlights on Nuke when we saw that play in overtime, getting caught out yet again. But this time he does at least get a frag onto Snappy. And this round has just been really, what was it, the cool kid, the words the cool kids are using these days, the young kids. Yikes. Is that what Machine said earlier?
Sure.
At least it wasn't yeet.
Twist in the corner, but again, it's the trades being effective for OPTIC, and it's Nico to find all of the kills. It is just going to be Exist remaining, looking to try and push back in. His utility expended, and his life as well.
You know, I like the play. I like Crims pushing up middle. I liked that he was able to get that early frag. I don't like how they were able to actually get turned around on and lose 2 because of it. But, you know, you win some, you lose some, and unfortunately, FNATIC are going to be losing some in that case. And now they have to go back to the drawing board here where they, what, if they took that kill, then backed away, they would have the man advantage, could potentially look really good into the rest of the round. Obviously, hindsight can always be 20/20.
Ooh, Tri-Scout.
I've heard about this before.
I like it. I always like seeing the scouts come out in these sort of rounds. The only problem is you sort of need someone with, well, I was going to say with the CZ, but we do, but only Brolin. It's kind of better if maybe you have a couple and then you have a few pistols, and I'm not such a fan of him being the aggressive one, because what you like is the scouts be a bit more aggressive, they tag players down, and then you have the spray and pray of that filthy CZ to finish off the remaining players. Instead, well, they've lost the B site. Now, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it is very, very unlikely that they're going to be able to retake this with 3 scouts.
I would assume so, yeah. I'd say, if anything, they're playing hard mode Counter-Strike now. Yeah. Trying to do that. We have seen crazier things, but we can already see them retreating away towards T-spawn, trying to maintain these weapons, and Twist is looking for the long-range Deagle shot. And Nico will take down Exist, who only just arrived to the party. A little bit unfortunate for him. The thing is, Nico is gambling here with this AK. I mean, luckily, they still have 2 players with umps, so they could trade the AK over to the ump anyways. But either way, could have been a different story if some shots were hit on the side of FNATIC here. So OPTIC going to come out with the early start, the early lead. I'm not sure you're actually able to both keep these weapons. This actually MSL jumps into his death. And Nico going to be a little bit wiser here because, of course, he has the AK in hand.
Yeah, won't take the same level of risk, and MSL is not going to be too fast at losing a UMP. It will go into the hands of Brolin, so that's at least something a little bit extra to play with in this next round, and they can again look to try and do some extra damage here to the T-side economy. And I think that's one of the things that you see a lot of the time in Dust 2 is I feel like it's the most momentum-based map in the game. Like, if you can really get yourself rolling, CT side, for example, you have the double AWP set up, you can just start, like, taking these individual battles versus the Ts before they do anything. But the same thing for the Ts as well. If you're feeling confident, if things start going right for you, you can start just playing off of your spawn. Like, you spawn towards long, you go, right, guys, I'm going long, flash me out, I'm getting a peek. Sure, it's as basic as you can get in terms of strategies, but why not?
Did he actually... Okay, never mind. So he got the USP. I thought he picked up from CT spawn for some reason, but no, he actually punished on that burst earlier on. But OPTIC with the early 3-0 lead, as you'd expect after the first round being done, especially when they're up against the Tri-Scouts. And now we're going to go into the gun rounds here, and this is where things are going to get very serious for the side of OPTIC, who have taken now 5 out of the 6 pistol rounds.
Yeah?
No. Yes, 4 out of 5. There we go, because you can't have 6 just yet. Not to the second half.
That is true. Well, you just predicted it. That's your prediction.
Bias casters. Is this live?
Well, here is that double AWP setup. It's going to be MSL looking to try and find the peak, but it's a passive hold. Brolin left as the anchor of the site, and for that very reason, we're not going to see anything too crazy for him.
Oh my gosh.
That was millimeters away from an opening kill onto Brolin, and already going to see JW rotating in to help out a little bit, just in case anybody does try and get a bit spicy around that smoke. Still going to be able to try and hold middle, but they've gambled off of the A side. And actually, that's the one man who could have rotated in to help things out. It's only really going to be Twist with that ability to rotate towards the car. That is the high value of the AWP, is that you can do this. Just switch your angle up very easily. And that's why they gambled further onto the other side of the map. The problem is Crim's going down early on. It's going to leave a hole somewhere, and that's for OPTIC to exploit.
Yeah, I mean, you have mid completely wide open right now, especially if you smoke off towards CT spawn. Twist actually going to back away to hold more on site here. And the pressure might be coming his direction as well. And Exist going to be peeking in towards potentially Lawn to gather some information, but the resmoke coming through, actually checking and waiting there for hoping or expecting maybe someone on OPTIC to push through the smoke. Little does he know there was a chance that almost everyone's going to be backing away from this spot, and OPTIC are taking their time. They have the man advantage. They're up against the double up setup. They're trying to be very careful about how they take this A site. The time is running thin.
And the problem is the rotations from the remaining players are actually quite far away. Twist going to have to do something fairly impressive here. The flashbang is absolutely perfect from MSL. Snappy will win his duel versus Exist. I think that was purely based on timing, just waiting for his teammates to all go running through, and then Exist looks away. A very easy kill for him, and that is pretty much the perfect way to work off of a man advantage. And even when their initial plan got kind of screwed over by that smoke being thrown down on towards long, they just quickly rectify the decision. They go, okay, we're going to go over towards short, we're going to drop down, and we're going to take the fight versus the AWP. And this is something I already gave props over to MSL in sort of mid-round calls. Like we saw it on Nuke as well, where it was very easy for them to make quick changes, and he's done it again.
Yeah, he's made some really good changes here, and I feel like, okay, let me ask you. Do it.
This is the threat.
Do you think MSL already has like a commanding understanding of how the team works and what he needs to do to be a proper in-game leader for OPTIC? Because he's only been on the team for like a month and a half. Or do you think there's going to be a lot more time needed to really figure out how to be the proper puppet master for the team?
I think the real benefit of the Danish scene being so incestual is the fact that you can pretty much just like... You already know all of the players. You know how they're going to react. He's played with Config before. He's played with Nico for a long time. I'm not sure if he's been on a team with Refresh, but it's one of those things where it's like, ultimately, you're just going to be like, okay, I know how this guy plays. I know what he wants to be doing. I know the aggression that needs to be taken. Oh, is JW going to get caught? No, he's not. And the Molotov actually came in from the T side, which will help him out. Okay, Nico will close him down eventually. And actually, Twist, that's fantastic. Just straight off the back of the CZ. Wants the AK, but decides to give it a moment. Exists while positioned, and it may not be one player clutching out the rounds, but these are all clutch situations coming out from the CT side. Bear in mind, they started this with one AWP. I think that was... Did they have one other weapon?
So JW had an AWP, which I think is now in the hands of Exist, and I don't think they actually did have another weapon. Yeah, because they had a CZ, and Exist was able to take down two. And as you said, like a lot of these are like clutch situations. If Exist doesn't get those 2 kills, or sorry, it was Twist who didn't get those 2 kills, then that means Exist is left alone on the A site to be pressured in from Catwalk and from Long, and that most likely would have netted themselves an actual, or he would have actually died from that one and potentially planned for OPTIC. So I think you're very right when you say that. There's a lot of these clutch situations that FNATIC went out on there, especially JW getting the first frag and actually buying a lot of time on the escape. Exist hitting that shot as well with the Deagle to, you know, prevent his player in towards Long to stay safe for a while longer. We are in round 6 now. OPTIC trying to switch some things up, trying to go for a little bit of a lower play where Crims is already waiting. Crims is only going to get 1. A nade coming through takes Config down to 7 health.
Yeah, very close in the end. The way that this has actually worked for FNATIC is the first round win they get off pistols, so they get a bit of a boost to their economy. You can see JW, Twist, and Brolin actually still with enough money to buy into the next round, even if things go wrong, which is not normally something you get off the back of just winning a normal round, especially if you lose a player or two. So they do have that little bit of a bonus going forward. They found the opening pick and done a lot of damage onto Config here at the expense of Crims. The question is it going to be the same sort of scenario we saw before, where OPTIC managed to find the hole? Like, they find the position in the defense, which is weakened. Now, we've seen the switch up in defense here exist. I think that was a little bit of miscommunication, because the flashbang came in after he peaked. So maybe a bit of a mistake, but they're not punished.
Well, Twist is going to be under a lot of pressure now. 3 players coming in from middle. He's going to take down the first. That's going to be Snappy. Switch over the CZ here, but the pace of OPTIC has slowed down. Brolin playing up close and personal here, taken down to 21 HP that eventually finished off by Refresh through that smoke. Now Twist left all by himself, but JW's pushed the smoke in towards CT spawn. He's looking for one. He does take down MSL. He does take down the bomb. And Config, will he expect JW on the other side of the smoke, and yes, he will. And with Refreshment in the 1v1 up against Twist, OPTIC somehow come up out of that round.
Yeah, there's a few duels in that round which I don't really understand how that worked. Like, Refresh not only getting one kill through the smoke, but then just pushing out tunnels. And I think Twist was so worried about the window position that he's completely distracted from the push coming in from Refresh, and then well, obviously Config just getting a kill on 7 HP.
With how close JW was to the smoke as well, it's not like he could have seen the jump into windows, so Twist definitely had to keep his eye out or his ear out, paying attention to that position, and having to look in two places at once is not something many people can do well, especially when it comes to CS. And again, MSL hits the shot, opens up the B side. Brolin's going to fall. Twist going to come in quickly. He does get the tag on the Refresh. Now the push is coming in from middle. He's going to be pincered off. Nico gets a great shot to Crims without even giving away the spot, with a preemptive smoke coming down, but Twist still played up close, gets one, can't connect onto the second though. Config's gonna take him down. JW can't hit the shot. He'll be finished off by Config, and now it's all down to Exist here up against 4.
Yeah, this is another nigh on impossible scenario. He needs someone to make a big mistake, and I think it's definitely worth mentioning that Crims at the moment is getting completely outplayed in mid. Like, it's either a 1-for-1 trade or a 1-for-none. Like, every time they've gone for these mid plays, it's been a huge success from OPTIC, and he has been the man to fall quite early on in these rounds. And I think we might need to see some sort of change there for FNATIC if they are going to be able to hold on to that position, because losing a man early every single round is hugely problematic for their CT side.
Also, I think the speed OPTIC are playing there too, at least in this round alone. Getting the quick pick towards B on a Brolin, then pushing directly in with the 3 in from middle. You can't really do the normal setup of get like 3 players in towards long to get that initial control, send that 3rd player back to watch towards short, or to maybe watch towards middle. And OPTIC, like you're saying, will they find the hole in FNATIC's defense? And by the scoreline we're seeing of 6-1, they've definitely been able to find it for the most part. But can they continue to do so? It wouldn't be the first time we've seen OPTIC have a strong start and a strong lead in a map.
Yeah, well, both teams have been able to get off to fantastic starts, be it off the back of the majority of pistol rounds that have been won from OPTIC, or be it off the back of like early round wins that we do see FNATIC getting. Like, bear in mind that they managed to just win a round off of pistols, and then straight off the back of it, OPTIC bounced back without any real flinching. It's not like they're in trouble here, and these are sort of like cheese plays that I think Refresh is just adding to the table. Like, we've seen him a few times now just go for plays that you shouldn't be making necessarily, but the plays that are catching FNATIC off guard and getting openers.
I'd actually love to see the opening duel rate out of Refresh. So I know in map 1 on Inferno, which feels like ages ago, funny enough, he had so many great rounds, great rotates from B over to the A site. Speaking of rotates, we're seeing FNATIC get aggressive towards Catwalk and Snappy. Just like that, snaps the head off a Twist, off the shoulders. And Snappy immediately just going to back off, realizing that's more people than you wanted to actually fight up against. But 4 players still towards long. And look how hesitant OPTIC are being to actually push up here, how careful they're being to really not give FNATIC a chance, even though FNATIC are basically just on pistols. Yeah, you've got 1 in 4 out of Exist, but it's not like they have the weaponry to fight long range.
Okay. I don't know if Exist could see something that we couldn't, but the shots through the smoke going to work out, but nothing else.
It's got that Australis config, right?
Yeah. Config adding another to his kill tally as well. He really has kicked off this map, as Sponge suggested, like being a big fragger, and I think that is such an important thing for this team. Like I mentioned, sort of Refresh being maybe the guy you needed to be a bit more consistent, and then Config the man you need to go off the chains. He is 10-2 right now.
I'm going to go for a quick peek yet again. Gonna set the fire for, oh my gosh, that timing. He would have hit that shot too, most likely. He gets taken down to 22 health, but the flashbang coming in from a teammate. Or actually, was JW blind by himself?
I think that was a team flash.
Oh my gosh, that's a little bit unfortunate for him. And oh my gosh, God.
How many times has Config gone down to like 10, 15 HP? And this time he's on 3. But he's still finding opening picks into the site. And once again, this is a round that FNATIC just can't win. Like they almost have to look to save unless Crims can find a very quick kill on his rotation. Like Brolin's given up. You can see he's just in the B site, just chilling. He's not bothering in this sort of retake scenario. And we're now looking at an 8-1 scoreline for OPTIC. Like I mentioned in Sydney, we saw like some pretty decent maps of Dust 2 coming out of FNATIC. so far in this one, I don't even think they've entered the server.
We did have a 7-0 scoreline for FNATIC on Nuke on CT side, and OPTIC did come back quite heavily, but I think I'd agree with you. Like, I mean, the way FNATIC are playing, it's not like they have it in them to come back. I mean, we know there's potential for it. We know they can do it, but they've just been really punished. Oh my gosh. They've just been really punished at every avenue. Again, you mentioned Config, Sponge mentioned him as well here on the desk. In the pre-match, he is just going off here on Dust 2. Seems to be his real home place. I think there was, I was casting like Swole Patrol, I think it was, and Som was filling in. He was like 16, I think, at the time. Yeah. And Dust 2, like, he went off. I think
I casted that with you.
Was it you and me?
Yeah, it was the minor qualifiers.
Yeah, and he went off completely. And then when we got into like the next map off of Dust 2 was when he started to really struggle. So I wonder, you know, if Config can still play the same kind of level on other maps as well. I mean, he hasn't been doing terribly when we've seen him before, but I mean, just Dust 2 seems to really be his playground.
Well, I think I think he is one of the prime examples of like confidence play. Like, when Config is confident, he will be the best player in the server. Like, it's very difficult to play up against him, so it wouldn't be surprising to me that if there was a map where he felt more comfortable than others, that would be where he just outshines everybody. Because like, that was one of the things that he actually went through. Like, when he was in his prime, he was probably the cockiest guy you would ever meet, at least to the cameras. Like, he played up to the crowd, and he would call out other players and teams and joke with it. Then when he went through, like, his sort of slump, we saw him become a lot more humble and sort of say, look, I'm going through a bad patch, I'm not enjoying my Counter-Strike, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, you sort of see the different sides of him and the different way he plays. So, yeah, not surprising to me at all that if he feels comfortable on Dust 2, he's going to start racking up kills and being very, very difficult to deal with.
I love this too. I mean, I think we've talked about it before with the series about OPTIC just really being composed.
Yeah.
They get an early frag here. They know they're up against a really shoddy buy out of FNATIC. What do? They take the kill advantage. They retreat back towards long to play together to not allow any of these frags to go through to FNATIC. To keep this pain train going, I think most importantly, to really just be unforgiving to FNATIC and not give them a chance to get around, not give them a chance to get some of their confidence back.
Yeah, they are in a very strong spot. CT side at least rotating into the right angles, but double smoke going down. I'm guessing we're going to see something a little bit risky coming through, and the T's definitely know that they're on the other side of this smoke. Config will come in and he gets all three through the smoke. Bear in mind, Refresh was on Cat and could actually see all of the players. Config still gets all the kills.
I like how, I think it was Exist, or was Brolin trying to jump on top of the other, and he jumped up and he's like, wait, where's my stool? Where's my box, Tom? Where's my box to stand on to see up in towards sight? But again, the composure out of OPTIC is fantastic. I mean, if we were to...
What?
Okay, you know, count it.
He deleted smoke.exe or .jpeg.
But OPTIC, like, we saw FNATIC as being like the #1 team in the group. OPTIC probably #2 most likely from what we see in recent history.
I think from #1 it was arguable either way. Like, I think you could argue any of the other teams in this, but yeah, I didn't expect it to be going down, especially not in this fashion. We've got to buy him back in at least, and Miko's actually down within 28 HP.
See?
And he's just killed himself.
Okay.
Right, moving on. Did he nade himself? That's the only thing I can think that he could have done that would have killed him there.
He just ascended to a different level right now.
He will rise again.
No, it's for one of the first times in a long time. I feel like OPTIC are playing from behind here.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is that both Snappy and Refresh haven't actually had that much to do. Refresh is 3-3.
Oh my gosh.
In round 11.
10 rounds played.
Yeah, this is kind of ridiculous. 4-4 for Snappy. Like, it really just has been Config and Nico, actually. They're ones really getting those stats padded.
Wait, are they really going to be allowed to just walk in towards... Okay, well, we do have Twist here. We have JW rotating in as well.
It's got a bit of utility to expend to at least try and slow them down. No damage done. JW is going to be rotating through, but is he going to take some sort of risky play around the smoke? That's the question. Now, once the bomb starts to be planted, that's where the risks can start to come in. But the fact is the kill's already been taken. Refresh will be able to pick off one. We saw Twist in Sydney jump into CT. I don't think we're going to be witnessing Refresh do the same thing, as he does already have control of the bomb and is going to be able to get that down. Brolin instantly starts his rotation, and Twist will do the same. However, I imagine Refresh is going to know that he'll likely be on this angle. Spots him out as well and is able to find the kill. Now Brolin's the only one left to try and save this round. Switch over to the CZ and finds the kill as well. Refresh has said he didn't have much to do, and when they give him the chance, a 1v3 clutch.
You really can't be losing those if you're FNATIC.
Oh, no.
You really can't be doing that. 10-1 here for OPTIC. Which is, it's just so weird considering how close. We had a 16-13 on our first map. We went into overtime in the second map on Nuke. And now we're 10-1 here on Dust 2. It's just, it doesn't really tell the story of how the series has gone here between these two teams. But OPTIC, I mean, I think Refresh just wanted to show, hey, you know, I can do something too. It doesn't have to be the config show. It doesn't have to be the Nico show.
Yeah, and the thing is there, in a lot of those situations, I don't really feel like they did too much wrong.
He was up against an 808 Piata twist too, towards Catwalk.
I guess he must have been homed in on a different corner and just didn't see him peek around the angle. But yeah,
I still don't know how Nico killed himself.
I think he just messed up a grenade.
Because he was on 28 HP, right?
Yeah.
So it had to have been a grenade then.
Well, the bad times continue for FNATIC as they're back to pistols once again. A bit of utility invested into here. We haven't actually seen that many just straight up plays towards the B side. It's been a lot of middle control coming out from OPTIC, and most of the time they've just been finding opening picks. I think that's the first time we've seen a big advantage come in for FNATIC throughout the whole map so far. And bear in mind, the only round they've actually won was on pistols. They haven't won a rifle round.
Even with the man advantage in the last round, they were unable to. Config is just doing some real work here. And if you're MSL, you're like, all right, Config, just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep it up. You know, we'll let you do whatever you want to do, whenever you feel like you can do. We got MSL here to help him out in towards middle, though. So we do have one player out of FNATIC pushed up towards long. There's a little bit more of a mid-presence out of FNATIC this time, as they have two players on Catwalk who can quickly rotate back in. But again, they're on pistols. Twist to win this fight would be very difficult. The smoke comes down. He actually gets a spray down to Nico. Going to come back and pick up the AK and retreat away backward towards Catwalk. Might get caught with the wrong weapon out. The smoke comes in. JW gets advantage of that. MSL going to push up aggressively. Twist flanks him from behind, and just like that, where did FNATIC come from? Refresh. I know you won the last clutch in a 1v3. Don't tell me you can win a 1v5. Actually, you know what? Tell me you can do it. I want to see it.
Yeah, the problem is so many weapons have just been picked up by FNATIC, but he is going to get himself a second, taking quite a bit of damage along the way, though, which makes things a little bit more problematic. Molotov going to go down into the window. That gives a chance to at least try and isolate things, but bomb down, 12 seconds. He's going to have to turn on the aimbot here if he wants to win this one, and it's not going to be happening. 10-2. Still haven't won a rifle round. It is, again, just these sort of dicey pistol wins, which, again, you can't repeat these. Like, it's a sort of one-off thing, like two players caught with nades in hands. Again, it's almost a double kill coming out from Twist with the CZ. Now, that was actually how they did win the previous one, which was just 2 kills from him on the CZ again. So, yeah, it's not something they can repeat, but it could be something to springboard them getting the last few rounds.
Just being unconventional. I mean, what are you going to expect a player just to randomly push when a smoke gets thrown down like that? I guess with the position of it, it might have been able to give away. Oh, hello, Nico. Actually would have given away potentially that they were going to play aggressively with how deep the smoke was. But either way, you can see now OPTIC trying to get their composure back, keep their composure, more importantly, where FNATIC are looking to just take these next 3 rounds, hopefully, and make it maybe a little bit more realistic as they move into the second half.
Yeah, they get the last 3, and you kind of win a pistol, and you're not even that far out of the game. Like, that's the thing. Although they haven't won many pistols so far in this series, so banking on that is definitely not going to be ideal. But
forever the optimist, Tom.
Yeah. No, let's not go there. I'm British. Like, optimism isn't really our thing. Like, we look up at the sky, it's dreary. We get on with our lives.
Funny enough, in Leicester, it's been really sunny and nice here and warm, which has been uncharacteristic. Exist gets just completely blinded up here as he's trying to hold towards long. And OPTIC again with some great timing. Twist looking for the shot. You see how close people are to death here. And Twist does hit the shot onto MSL, actually towards long. Goes for the re-peek, but able to capitalize off of that to get a second. Now OPTIC can be playing with the man down.
I need the single smoke down this time. We've seen them double smoke it almost every other time, and JW's just dropped the bomb. This is going to be a tough one to win, especially with the second kill coming in. It leaves only Nico alive. 1 versus 3. We've seen versus 3 already, but this time they're all going to be combining forces. And there's no way that he gets out of that one. 10-3. Finally winning a buy round, which is nice for FNATIC. And I kind of hope for their sake that they manage to take the last couple of rounds. Like 11-4 is the minimum. Like at least then they have a bit of a buffer if they lose the pistol round. If not, and we see a 12-3, then they really are in big, big trouble.
16 kills for Config. It's actually been, in the rounds they have lost, it's just been, I think, killed off really early on.
Yeah. Wait, I think his plays are all or nothing plays. Like, they're run out onto a site and find a headshot or die. Like, there's no, like, middle ground of him just surviving. We've seen it as well a lot of the time when he does find a kill, he's down to, like, 12 HP or something ridiculous.
Yeah,
like
7 or 3
it's like,
for like 2 rounds.
Him dinking someone and them dinking him, but he has an AK, so he wins. Like, that's pretty much just been the way that this has worked. Twist. A decent angle. Config going to be the one to take the fight. I don't know how that doesn't connect. I guess he moved just as he took the shot, so Config's going to get away with that. We'll give a little bit of information over to the CT side, but their rotations a lot of the time have been fairly slow at getting back into the site. Twist this time will be able to connect the shot, and JW, I think that was through the smoke, but it is still going to be the trade back. Exist from afar will be able to chime in with one, and Snappy again. He's tried that late peek in a few times, and because of that, I think Exist is prepared for it.
MSL just trying to pick up the bomb and retreat away. The smoke's going to fade towards CT. Exist actually gets the bomb now down, so it's going to come down to a 1v1 here, both low on HP, 23-29. Problem is, the bomb dropped exactly where Nico could pick it up, and he's quick on his heels to move over towards this B side. So Exist is going to have to rotate momentarily, and he's going to have to pull off a shot. Yeah, he's got a lot of distance to cover. He does have a kit, luckily, but he doesn't know if it's A or B.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. He will quickly realize, but even then, there's going to be about 15 to 20 seconds already gone off the clock. So he has to do so much. I think he's just hoping that maybe Nico makes some sort of mistake, but you can see from his perspective, he's just being very passive at the moment. Clock still ticking down, Exists not wanting to give away too much in terms of his position, and Nico looking like he wants to peek towards the door here. It is going to be the peek out, and Nico just clutch in this round. 4 kills for him coming in. I mentioned, okay, we had that one big clutch coming out from Refresh, but it has just been the show of Config and Nico. And again, he's there to 4 kills out of the 5 to bring things home. It will be an 11th on the board now. FNATIC, I believe, will have the cash to buy into this one, and well, there you go. Max loss bonus, I would almost guarantee, is still there because of how many they've actually lost within this half.
The thing is, even though you take down Config early on or you take down Nico early on, you can't sleep on the other players. It's not like you can just say, all right, well, this should be a round we've got. You still have to worry about them, as MSL, again, just leads the charge with such an aggressive op play yet again. B site's going to be wide open. It's going to be all on Brolin to hold, and Config's quickly going to shut this down. Almost thought Twist was maybe going to go for a shot there through the smoke, but not going to be successful. The bomb's going to be planted. It looks like OPTIC might come out with a 12-3 first half score in our 3rd map. It's going to be tough for FNATIC to fight their way through. They still have quite a few flashbangs to use, though. The problem is MSL is just waiting, and he already tags Exist down to 20 HP.
They've got 3 Molotovs on the T side as well. Like, getting back into the site is nigh on impossible. Like, you're going to have to wait for all of those grenades to go out or attempt to run through them. The T's managed to do this all so quickly that they've just got so much utility left. Like, even now, they still have a couple of flashbangs. Grims is even going to help them out. This is just the messiest end to a round. Bringing things back. It was FNATIC. They even have the FNATIC pause, so coin, because they were able to do it. And even if they didn't say anything, they somehow managed to turn games around. Now, they've had a bit of a breather. Config. Oh my God. Just a pixel angle onto Exist. I don't even know if he was playing. He was just chilling in the spawn, having a bit of a relaxing time, and he's been domed.
I feel like the X-ray really undersells how hard of a shot that was to hit, too. Because I thought, I was like, oh, he has such a large amount of area to hit, but no, in reality, it was not much at all here. And the problem is, even though Config got that early pick, Nico's going to fall right off the bat here. And Snappy's going to be there to be able to keep their hopes alive here in this pistol round. This would be 5 out of 6, like I said before. We might jump the gun a little bit. Commentator's curse. It is just damn strong here. So it comes down to Refresh, who's going to have a lot of pressure coming his way in towards this B side. He has no utility to use, unfortunately. But Brolin's going to have a Molotov to delay any sort of defuse potentially from coming through. And Refresh is not able to hit the shots like he was on Inferno. And Snappy now 1v3. Okay. Oh. That's a brave play.
Yeah, I think when you're retaking the B site, like, you got to go for something bold, and unfortunately that did not work out for him. 12-4. Pissed around the second one, so you did jinx it, unfortunately.
It happens.
Nice few shots coming out from Brolin, who was pretty good in the first map. Second map fell off. Third map definitely hasn't been around. So I think if he can start to step up, we could see the rise out of a few players in FNATIC. But
well, the thing is, if we think back to Inferno, which is the map he really popped off on, it was mostly due to, I want to say, his CT side, because it was the way they were playing around him in Pit by having Crimson support him constantly in multiple rounds. Whereas on Dust 2, playing B side almost alone. I mean, he did have Twist off to the side to help out, but he didn't really have the support in the same kind of way we did see on Inferno for him.
Well, Brolin, this time is going to find the open up, but the trades come in thick and fast. 2 straight back already, and it leaves just Twist and Exist remaining in this scenario. Nico just going to be playing off the edge of the wall, peeks out, takes a lot of damage back. There's still a possibility if they can find this frag that does give them a bit of a path onto the A site, at least for the bomb if it goes short. However, with the player over towards long, it could become a little bit more dicey. Config also trying to do further work with the scout. If he'd hit that jumping shot there, I think I would have just walked away, but it's not going to be the case. Exist still looking to try and get this pick. They need to get rid of Nico. And the fact is, Nico knows this as well as anybody. If he just stays alive, plays patient, it's going to be nice and easy for the rest of his team to get the rotations. Exist now left alone, 1 versus 4. Can at least connect onto the first, the second and third round the corner at once. And Snappy's there to close it out. 13-4. A bounce back from the CT side, and as if it couldn't get any worse for FNATIC, they lose the second round forced by.
Yeah, I mean, considering how the pistol round went, they lost Exist right off the bat to Config, who hit the shot from bottom and middle. And then when they're starting to get some sort of semblance of control, they just lose the second round because I guess they just got caught a little bit off guard here. But, I mean, OPTIC, they do have the better win rate when it comes to this map compared to their counterparts of FNATIC. And definitely showing that Config is a beast to be reckoned with. 20 kills so far for himself. He got 15 for Nico, as you mentioned before. Nico really stepping up as well here on this map. And FNATIC have just not really come to the table to play, it seems.
Yeah, and they've sort of gone all in here. They've gone for the force buy, hoping that they can maybe steal one back. If not, then, well, either they've got the choice of just continuously force buying until the end, or they save and play for overtime, which, when you have 4 rounds and you're thinking about saving for overtime, I think a tear just slowly rolls down your face. Like it's not a fun position to be in, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw them force into the next round, even if this doesn't go too well. Now, they've at least managed to weaken Config early in the round, but he is not dead, and I have learned so far in this match that until that man is dead in the kill feed, he's still going to be annoying to play against.
Oof. Oh. He's just playing game with the devil here. Peekaboo. And JW will take the head off his shoulders. So now he will be out of the fight for now, but it's still going to be a 3-on-3. We'll have some guns rescued here out of JW, who definitely earned that way into that. So was able to get 2 frags with the P250. Now MSL and Snappy. Snappy on the long rotate here. They know they still have like technically a weapon advantage, even though they've lost over towards 2. But instead, just going to save, it looks like, into the next round. Maybe try to punish them if they try to escape with these weapons. It looks like FNATIC are back on track here, at least for now. I'm not going to call it just yet, as they will take their 5th round.
Yeah, I feel like if they're back on track, the tracks are hanging over a cliff edge, and there's someone trying to sort of reverse it back up at the moment. I definitely think they've got a long way to go, but they've sort of rectified the problems of the last round. They've also done some damage in terms of, like, the loss bonus being built up. It's a very sort of hollow victory there, where it's like, hey, they have 1 round less loss bonus than they would have done at this point. But it's one of those situations where you got to take what you can get. They've at least given themselves a lifeline, because, as said, if they don't win that round, they are in a position where they are either force buying until the end of the game, or they're saving for overtime. Either is horrible. Ugh. This is a much better scenario.
I feel so dirty when you say saving for overtime. I think I need a shower. That just might actually just be my stench. Yeah, never mind. Don't know if that has to do with what you said. Now we're going to see, though, it looks like a 4-man push out of FNATIC towards long. He's not going to have, no one's really going to have any sort of contention there, at least just yet. This Config is going to be sitting back and tucked away nicely. I like this little play here of MSL, though. I think he has been spotted by JW, and that's going to cost him his life, or should. JW almost missing the shots there.
Oh, Snappy is going to be able to trade things back. That is the only rifles. Now they're going to be able to retrieve another one, and they've got so much information here. They can already go pushing a little bit further around towards this A site. They're going to have 3 players here, and they're going to have plenty of rifles. In fact, Refresh is the only man without a rifle, and he's on B, so that's fine. They are very well positioned for this. The flashbang, though, is utterly perfect from Exist. Config looking to try and hold this down, and he will get a second as well. Leaves it into the 1v1 and just finds the final frag. Config is on one at the moment, and it was mentioned by Chad that, like, yeah, he normally starts, he gets to 20 kills, and then he slows down. He just didn't slow down today. He just carried on going.
Well, like I said before, whether he has 1 HP or 100, you still can't count him out. He pulls off a 1v3, which should have quickly been turned on by the second player. I didn't catch the name of who it was, but after the first frag came through, you would imagine there shouldn't be a chance he gets a second, but somehow this man pulls it off and keeps OPTIC in the lead by 9 rounds. 2 left to go for them to close out this first match in their series, and they'll come back tomorrow and look to take a 2-0 start so far in the group. A 3-0 just guarantees you 100% into the finals. A 2-1, a very, very likely chance. And FNATIC, who, hell, they were the favorites of this entire group. They've been pushed to the brink on Inferno, they've been pushed to the brink and into overtime on Nuke. And right now, they might not be pushed at all here on Dust 2. Yeah,
at least in both maps, up until this point, we could say that there was a real fight for who was going to get the victory.
True.
So far, OPTIC are just looking like they're outclassing FNATIC, and it's definitely not looking like the same team that we saw in Sydney when the real pressure was on them to get the victories. Obviously, single elimination when it came to the playoff stage. JW, one of the only rifles in play at the moment, already tagged low. Not too low, but he may still want to give that off to Crims. The only problem is Crims has not been playing particularly well.
It was interesting to see that JW pushed so far up too, because if he died, they lost the AK. There was no chance to rescue that. There was no one in support, as they finally now have pushed through doors together. Smoke has gone down, so they have the opportunity to push through. But there's just so many eyes trailed in their general direction. Config's going to realize the push is coming through. He's still got Refresh in sight to help out. Config gets the first. He's looking for the second, and this man, you give him an inch and he'll take a mile here, keeping OPTIC easily in this game, keeping them in such a big lead. And now Config help puts them onto match point.
Yeah, and every time we see Refresh given an opportunity, he takes it. Like 3 kills for him as well. There were 2 players defending that site. Neither of them got close to dying. Like they just played in a perfect crossfire. Nico was a little bit of a distraction running through the smoke into middle. He was actually closed out by JW. This is sort of the round that I was worried about. Like the survival of FNATIC has come up to a Scout, 2 Deagles, a CZ, a P250, and a handful of nades. Like it doesn't get much worse.
Well, if Config was on FNATIC, I'd say there's a chance. A good chance.
He gets tagged by the Scout and then just absolutely wrecks Twist. Nade going to come in as well. Doesn't quite reach the FNATIC players. They haven't pushed that far forward.
It's like the lower health he gets, the more powerful he becomes.
Yeah.
The angrier he gets, you know? It's like the human Hulk here, but in headshots. And this is going to be a big push. MSL is going to have a tough ask here to hold on, and Brolin will quickly dispense of him. Snappy just looking to stay alive here towards long A to keep the pressure on. You can see Nico, he realizes how passive they have to play, how they have to retreat back towards short. There's no one rotated in for OPTIC, though, in this direction, so Nico's going to look for the shot. He's going to spot out Crims, take the head off his shoulders, and look for the push into more. JW hits the headshot onto Nico, though. It looks like FNATIC might be able to keep their hopes alive here. Refresh in a 1v3 now, 1v2, jumps up, spots out Bro as he gets tagged in the head, takes it down. Toby's going to pull off the third here, now in a 1v1 up against JW with 1 HP and the Dream. The bomb is taken away. He does have a kit, but he doesn't know where JW necessarily is, and JW's playing so calm. He's playing for the bomb, and Refresh just going to push in here. Time is gone here, and somehow FNATIC just barely skate by with a triple kill out of JW.
Yeah, he had to step up there if they were going to have any chance of bringing that round through. And that is actually the ridiculous thing about this match so far. I'm almost certain FNATIC have won more rounds without a buy than they have with a buy, which is just ridiculous. It shows how good they are with the pistols and when they really need to step up, but at the same time, that's not going to win you matches. They just haven't been able to make things work. This time, it is just going to be the CT side a little bit more patient. They have so many rounds to play with. They don't need to take any risky force buys. They don't need to be doing what FNATIC are currently doing, trying to survive. But just look at their setup. All of them in mid. It's only going to come in with 1 kill, and maybe Nico can net a second. Will, in fact, close out Crims. As said, it really hasn't been the best game for him so far. Been struggling in this scenario. But JW, not so much. 20 kills in every map, I believe.
That's a stat I can definitely get behind here. I think, though, they're still hurting on money because the rounds that they are winning, they're not necessarily 100% clear. You saw JW was the only survivor in the last round, 3 players in this round. And you can see they're still, I mean, obviously forcing everything they have into every round, but at some point, if they keep losing players like this, they're going to be hurting for the AKs. And now we have the full buy out of OPTIC. MSL going for the AWP yet again. Looking for any early aggression over towards middle. However, the aggression is going to be coming over towards long A. And Nico's going to get the quick little pick here. It's a Twist.
Yeah, Twist trying to sort of recreate some of the stuff we saw from Refresh, but with 2 players already waiting. How? How does he get away with that with JW waiting around the corner? He's killed off the man that's been sort of causing them any trouble. Like, other players really haven't done much to OPTIC's defense at all. It's only really been JW over the last few rounds to pick up the pace, and with him gone, who's going to pick up the mantle?
It seems like Config's almost playing reminiscent of what we saw out of MSL and Inferno, just playing these odd angles, pushing at these weird times without any real support, catching FNATIC off guard time and time again. Speaking of MSL, the first on to exist comes down to these last 2 players here for the side of FNATIC to keep their hopes alive here in this first match. Nico going to be pushed up towards the A site. He's got support from long A as well. This is going to be so tough for FNATIC to somehow hold on to when they have no utility left.
And they're being pincered from all angles. Config hits the timing perfectly, adds his 28